It's interesting because when you think about threats, you would think it could be the Nets, right? Because they are at the 8th spot and they could threaten a Milwaukee Bucks or, Miami Heat at the top. But the real answer is the defending champs, the Milwaukee Bucks. Because if you watched yesterday and any of their past few games, you can even say from, the start of the year, they've won the games that matter most. Right now, they're sitting, I believe, at number 2 in the East. They're right where they want to be as defending champs, like flying under the radar. Not number 1, so they have enough motivation. They're the biggest threats to repeat for themselves. And I love it because they're so consistent. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo, I had to go out there and tweet it. Like, we're watching the Giannis evolution. He's evolving. That 3 to force overtime was impressive. It looked fluid. That crossover drawback and then knocking down the 3. Mind you, right before he missed the 3. So you can think the mental game, maybe I shouldn't shoot that. He took it in flow and helped his team win the game. You look at this team overall, Drew Holiday in their championship, run was a huge X factor. He's a two-way guard that has size, that can defend, but also he brings out the best in his teammates, one including Giannis and one including Chris Middleton, who, mind you, Chris Middleton, a lot of people starting the year was like, where has he been? He's averaging about 18 points per game. Well, he's turned it on ever since, after All-Star, averaging about 25. So you're getting that great basketball that we saw last year in the run where they won the championship. And now you look overall, like, threats to themselves, maybe? Like, they are playing motivated. I like the Milwaukee Bucks to not only come out of the East, but more importantly, I think they can threaten whether it's the Suns or any team, maybe the Grizzlies as dark horses. You look at these teams in the West, they feel like they're most poised to win a championship, and they know exactly what it took to get there.
I feel like if you look at yesterday's game, to come away and say that one team favored over the other at this point in time would be hard to do. I mean, look, if Durant was like a centimeter the other way for that 3 he took to actually win the game, we would be talking more, I feel like, today about the Nets than we are the Bucks. But nonetheless, my opinion, it would be the Nets. I hear what you're saying about the Bucks, and again, I'll go back to, like, it's one or the other. It's 1A, 1B. But Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving together is a scary thing to watch at this point. They now have developed a little bit more chemistry. Like, I'm not going to look to what's going on in Philadelphia with the Sixers, a team that can't find an identity when there's clearly one here with the Nets, and these two are figuring it out. And if you look last season and what happened with the Brooklyn Nets, I mean, it's a shoe size away a bit from them advancing in terms of what Kevin Durant was able to do. Kyrie Irving obviously got hurt in Game 4, and yet still the Bucks barely squeaked by the Nets. So for me, I feel like these two, yes, they're the 8 seed, but in terms who are they the biggest threat to? Every single team 1 through 8 they can compete with in the East. So for me, give me Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, because Kevin Durant, I wouldn't want to face him. I don't care who was on my roster.
Right out of the gates, we're arguing with this. Because to me, it's fascinating as I watch the game, right? Because the Bucks, they're clearly that team. This shouldn't be too much of a conversation. What the statement, I think, is accurate. The Nets might be the best low seed we've seen in a long time, maybe ever. That's intriguing. But it's always the sexy conversation. Let's talk about the Nets. Let's talk about the Sixers. Let's talk about the Celtics. They're on a run. Robert Williams bounces out a little bit. Now they've kind of taken a step back. Let's talk about the Bulls. Everybody wants to talk about teams outside of the Bucks. It's incredible. These are the reigning champions. And if I'm picking one player in the world to build my team around, he plays for the Bucks. It's Giannis. If you watch these last 2 games he's played, it's very clear what he did against the Sixers, what he's turned around here and done against these Nets. He's made the statement he's the best player in the world. He plays on the best team. And when we talk about building big threes, why is every conversation go past the big 3 for the Milwaukee Bucks? How is it not Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday?
Because they're new.
It's because they're boring. And that's the problem. It's not the sexiest look, Chiney. It bugs me.
Look, we agree, but I would not say that they're boring, because anyone that watched that game last night was anything but boring. And Giannis's game, a lot of people say, why is he not in the MVP? We'll probably get to that. And they're like, oh, it's because, the way he dunks is not exciting. If you watch him play, the way he takes on the entire squad, especially to force those free throws late, he literally took on the entire defense, and we thought it was a KD foul, but it wasn't, and then knocks down his free throws. This team is super exciting. I think it's just the movement, like you said, from, whether it is...
Why is it a conversation, Chiney? Why isn't it obvious that it's Giannis is the best player? This guy's probably the defensive player of the year and win a scoring title.
It comes down to the definition of what does best player constitute. Yeah. Because a lot of times when we talk about best player, we think, all right, you have to have overall skill. We think of a LeBron James and how he is able to touch every facet of the game. We think about a Kevin Durant and how he's the best scorer, right? When we think about Giannis Antetokounmpo, he may not necessarily be the best player, but what we're seeing is him step into that bag. I mean, yesterday, knocking down that 3 when it mattered most, That's evolution. When I think about Giannis, even more importantly, this guy does not take a possession off. Like, he does not take a possession off. And I always say the best quality to have is that create that contagious energy. Drew doesn't take a possession off. Chris keeps weathering the storm. They just got Brooke back. Their identity is through their best player. And he may not be what a lot of people consider the entire best, overall, but he's the most dominant. And to me, that's the most important.
See, we're hoopers. So we say it's not boring because that's attractive basketball. But you know what is boring that does get overlooked? And that broadcast did a great job of pointing it out last night. At the half, Chris Middleton, just sitting there talking to Bobby Portis, a guy who's a very passionate guy, a very fiery competitor, breaking down rotations, where they need to be better going into the second half. It's culture. That's a group that's won a lot of games. That's a group, we hear so much in the NBA, this guy's not happy with his playing time. Is this guy even going to be in uniform? What's the deal with this locker room? Call-outs in postgame. You don't hear that with Milwaukee.
No problem.
They have their identity. They have no problems. We sit up on this desk, it's great. I know I'm going to do good TV with you guys. I know you guys. This Bucks squad knows who they are, and that's what's put them in position here to go on a run. There's no question marks. What would be the biggest question mark, Shay? What would it be?
Can Giannis make his free throws?
And he's
and that's not even a question anymore.
We said if Giannis gets a jump shot, league, watch out. The man had a step back to tie the game and force overtime.
His first ever game tying go-ahead
Come on.
three.
He's evolved in every space. Whatever you want. You want free throws? Cool. He'll make them down the stretch. You want a jump shot? He's hitting a step back.
Right.
This guy does it all. He's evolved his game to answer any question marks. And it seems so long ago that Harden said that, oh, that guy's just a guy who dunks the ball. Are you kidding?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.